Welcome to the Biz Bash podcast, where we make biz strategy a piece of cake. I'm Elisabeth.
And I'm Cami, but you might know us better as Eliza and Calligraphy and Cami Monet. We want to help you, our fellow stationers, artists, and calligraphers, confidently build a profitable and personality-driven creative biz.
We're here to share our honest-to-goodness advice and actionable strategies for ambitious artists.
So put on your party hat, quit being a procrastinator gator, and let's get this party started.
Hello, my little Biz Birthday Bash bears out there in Biz Birthday Bash land. Letting me introduced, so I get to say whatever weird thing I want.
Boy.
Welcome back to the podcast. It's another delightfully fun episode. Once again, this episode will probably be shenanigans because we record in a batch, and it's still the same day that I found out the gender of the babies. So welcome to the next 3 weeks. You have to hear my excitement, but okay, today we're talking all about how to DIY your product photography and get those scrumdiddlyumptious product photos that are going to get you sales, and how to do that on your own with your iPhone or your Android or whatever other phones there are, and just do it like super simple and do it yourself, you know, because we all got to bootstrap it sometimes. If you can't get yourself together to hire a photographer like me, raise his hand, or you just need crunch for time, need something for the gram, this is going to help you with some little tips and tricks on how we take our product photos.
Yep. And I think the biggest thing is that people tend to overthink this like a lot. It's just basically about having an explosion in your office and pulling every single thing off of the shelf and out of your drawers and finding a million props and just having fun. That's what you need to do at the end of the day. So
I actually don't use like any props ever. So mine's like pretty
Is it
basic.
because you edit things in, or just because you keep it so clean?
No, I just prefer like it to be clean. I feel like every time I add props, I'm like, I get like usually I'm in a hurry. That's my problem. But when I'm gonna do my like nice big shoot for Christmas, when I pull myself together for that, I will probably have some props. But usually I do like to take product photos without any props as well, to have a nice clean one, which I think we've talked about before. But I like to have one nice standalone image on a white background. Really important. So there you go. One little tip for you right there.
Yep.
For things. So
Let's start then by let's just talk about styling mats and props to begin with, because people are always wondering kind of what surfaces that you take photos on. So why don't you start and tell us what you are usually using?
I am usually using a very beat up piece of watercolor paper.
Okay.
So I have this like one piece of watercolor paper that I've had for like 6 years, and it's like a 2 foot by 3 foot white watercolor paper. So I use that a lot for my backgrounds. And I also have some styling mats as well, but I don't like them as much anymore. They're fabric, and for some reason, I just don't like them anymore. But you can pretty much use like foam board. You can use cool leather styling mats. We have a bunch of vendors in the directory too that have like a lot of cool styling mats. I do like my styling mats. Like, they roll up, they're double-sided fabric. They're really cool, but I'm just like over them. I don't know why.
Yeah. And I feel like there's something about fabric styling mats specifically that lend themselves really well to invitation flat lays.
Yeah.
And not necessarily products, because those have a certain feeling. And that is important too.
It doesn't fit the vibe what I'm going for anymore. So I've actually been looking on Amazon for some different styling boards, which is basically just looking for like photography backdrops, or just like basically giant pieces of paper that I like to use, because I've also used wrapping paper. Okay, listen, not Creative Market. What is the place? Is it like Society 6 or something? One of those like print on demand sites. I'll just buy like wrapping paper and whatever. You can like literally make your own with like whatever color you want.
Okay.
And they're like really cheap. And so you can just type in like pink wrapping paper, and just like solid colors come up.
Well,
that's
that. Awesome.
And it's really cheap.
That's such a great tip.
So I actually have a bunch of the wrapping paper that I use as well. I have blue, pink, and green, but I haven't used them in a while. But they're in here somewhere.
Yeah, I definitely know exactly what you're talking about. Like, I can think of certain photos in the past that you've done.
Yeah.
Because I actually also used really big sheets of watercolor paper for things I've done in the past. And I had painted one of them at one point, kind of like this pink wash almost
Oh, yeah.
that
I
I was
remember that.
using. Yep, like back in the and I loved that because I was just putting that behind like all of my invitations and stuff I did for consistency. So there's literally like probably a $2 solution for you out
Yeah,
there.
that is so true. It's probably a $2 solution for you out there. You don't have to have anything fancy. I prefer just a nice, like, clean white background because I feel like it's easy for me to edit that like really quickly. Like sometimes with
Yep.
colors, it gets a little funky and like they don't look as consistent. Like I have a hard like I want things to look consistent for me, and so the white is the easiest to like make consistent. Like sometimes with pinks or greens or whatever, it's hard to like make that green look the same every single time. So
Yeah.
with white, I can always make that look the way I want it to. So
Yeah.
that's always just kind of been my go-to for things like that. But yeah, so having that like just something quick and simple, but the wrapping paper, guys, that's a good tip for sure.
Yes, exactly. And that's why we said at the beginning of the episode, like, you're probably overthinking this. Like, it doesn't need to be as hard as you think. Or like for my flat lay invitation shoot, I just went to Joann's and bought some fabric that I liked to use as a background. It wasn't a specific like styling mat. I didn't even like glue it to a surface. I like ironed it and like laid it on a board and was like, cool, there's my
Cool.
background.
Yeah, exactly. Because the background doesn't matter as much as the lighting, which is something we can definitely talk about, is like
Yes.
where you take your photo is going to make the biggest difference. Like lighting wise, like I think some people think, oh, I need to turn on like every single light in my room right now to have good lighting. But like really, you should probably turn all those lights off and just use natural light. Like anytime I
Yep.
take product photos, I turn off any lights like in my office or in my studio or whatever and just use natural light, because even if it's a little bit dark, I can brighten it up. But if there's like glare or weird shadows or a weird color coming through from the other lights, that's going to be much harder to edit out than brightening something.
Yeah, exactly. Because what people don't realize is that every light bulb has some sort of tint for the most part. It might be a cooler tint light bulb, it might be a warmer tint light bulb, which is why just finding a window is going to be your best choice. And we hope that all of you out there are living somewhere that has a window.
Hopefully you have
that
a
would just
window.
be very sad.
Yeah, hopefully you're not living under the stairs like Harry Potter over here. But yeah, a nice big window. You can even diffuse it with like a curtain is good too. Like I love that in my old studio. I had like those white curtains that were like perfect diffused light, because I like my photos to not have harsh shadows. But some people like that with their product photos, like to have a really harsh shadow. I like mine to be really soft. So I usually have the light source coming in from like either side instead of like the front of the product. But that doesn't really matter too much because I edit the bejesus out of it anyway. So.
That's another good point actually, because I was going to bring up the foam core tip.
Yeah,
so if you
good.
Awesome.
I was also
talking
gonna
about
say
lighting. Like if you are, you're on the table facing the window, right? And the light is casting over it. If you use a piece of foam core opposite that window, it'll actually act as a reflector. Yeah, as a reflector, just to push some light. I'm like gesturing with my hands. You can't see me do this.
Yeah.
Push some light back down onto the other side of like your flat layer, your product. So then that does help alleviate some of those shadows as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you feel like, okay, like the top part of my styling board's really bright, it's closest to the window, and the lowest part is kind of dark, that's a really good way to get some light balance.
Like cross diffuse the light, basically. You're like bouncing the light across it, and that just helps so much with those shadows and brightening up the stuff. And I get in like the weirdest positions to take photos.
Yes. Also, once again, a $2 solution. Like it does not have to be anything crazy or anything fancy by any means.
Yeah, I'm literally going to send you like before and after, Elizabeth, of my party pennants just so you can see how janky like the photography setup is versus what they look like after I edit them, because I'm telling y'all, it is like not fancy over here by any means. Like
yes.
So
and we can definitely,
janky.
We're going to be talking about like post-production, AKA iPhone apps.
Yeah.
At some point in the episode, because this is the DIY photography episode. This is not the professional photography episode.
Okay, how do I okay, hold on now. This is gonna take me forever. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, look at these before and after. Because you're gonna be like, what the heck? But I feel like this is a good representation.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Isn't that a huge difference?
Yes, because you like pulled the light and the contrast so much. Oh my goodness.
I
Like this
know.
makes sense. This totally makes sense to me of like how you would get to the result. Cause in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I know like you would use like this and this button and levels and you would crop it. And like this literally, Cam, you just like,
Please describe this to everyone. It looks
okay.
like maybe we should post this on.
She put a piece once again of watercolor paper on some really nasty carpet. I can see the carpet in the bottom corner of the photo. The photo is like, yeah, the whiteboard is on the carpet, and there's nothing else in the picture. There are some like specks of like dust and hair and weird things on this piece of paper that I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of like gross. That's weird. The photo is like not necessarily like perfectly level, you know, like she's taking it at an angle, like it's level.
Like imagine I took it in like 1 second, because that is literally what happened.
That is literally what happened. But then the version that's like on the website is like, it was just, I would never have known, to be honest. I never would have known. I feel like we need to post this example on.
We definitely should post this example, because it's like hilarious.
The before and after example.
The before and after is.
So in post-production, it would have been really easy because she already had that white background. Excuse me, the background.
The background. Yes. That's why I like the white. It's so much easier to edit. Like, it's so much easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still using, you can't really tell on this, but there's like a foam core board in the corner there to just kind of like soften up the shadows a little bit.
Yeah. I did notice the shadows were pretty nice.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is like, when you take the photo, don't aim for perfection with that photo, because it's not going to be like perfect immediately. Like, you can still have good lighting, but it's still probably going to, the lighting is more about getting the shadows right, and not necessarily as much of like true to color yet, because we'll do that like with editing. It's just very hard to get like a true to color image right from like your iPhone camera immediately.
Yes.
You know, like one of my tricks that I like to do is sometimes when I'm holding up the product, this is like kind of hard to explain. And then you can like, you can like do like the AF lock or whatever, where it's like, it locks whatever, like if you hold down when you're focusing on the product, you hold it down with your thumb, it'll like lock whatever setting, because it's like, oh, this is like the light we're doing it. But sometimes I'll have like really good light coming this way, and I'll just keep that locked as I go vertical with it, because it did like the colors the way I wanted. This is like very hard to explain.
No, yeah. Okay, I think I can kind of understand. I don't know if like my phone is quite as tech savvy as that, but I can hold down and I can like pull up the brightness a little bit within my camera.
Yeah, so it's like in that same thing, but instead of like pulling up the brightness, like just hold it down for a little bit and it'll like lock something. Because remember how when we used to take pictures, sometimes it would look kind of green?
Yes.
And it'll do like AE/AF lock, whatever that means. And it means it's not going to like change the color profile based on the light. It's going to keep it the same. So sometimes if I have like the color profile the way I want it, do you see what I mean? Where you like hold down the little square?
Yes. And so mine, because I have like an 8, it just gives me the little sun icon.
Oh, okay.
So mine doesn't have the AF thing, but I don't even know
what that means. But for some reason, that has been like very helpful for me. So
isn't it like aperture and focus probably?
Yeah, it's probably something like that. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like aperture and autofocus or something. Yeah. I don't know, but it definitely like locks the colors the way I want them sometimes. So I'll use that. But again, I edit my colors a ton because it's very hard to get like them and perfectly correct. And like the thing with product photography is you want it to look almost exactly like the product, like what it actually looks like. You don't want to do weird filters or change the color. You want it to look as true to life as possible. And so that's like where you're just trying to like match those colors of the product. Mm-hmm. And it's really like imitations, you can kind of get away with using a filter or something fun like that. But products, like people are going to be like, this color pink in the photo and I got something totally different. So
right.
Super important to get those true to life.
Yeah, because I'm going to your, there they are on your website, exactly how you would have taken the photos. And she just has one photo per party pennant. So nothing crazy and insane on your website specifically. I'm assuming it's just one photo on Etsy too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. There's nothing crazy. Nothing
And
crazy.
then other funny thing that I wanted to tell people about the before and after you sent me, the before isn't like even oriented in the right way. So she took the party pennant, she would have had it vertical, but the photo registered horizontal. So it's like not even.
It's because it's like when I was taking the picture, the shadows of myself were in the way of what I wanted. I was like, I'll just turn
and so
it.
you like went and stood on a different side, and that doesn't matter because you can do so much stuff in post production. It's all about just getting something down, having that natural light, and experimenting with it. And I wanted to talk about props a little more too, because this is just my take on things. But if you do include props, I would try to keep them relatively neutral from like a holiday perspective, unless it's a holiday specific product. So I wouldn't want to photograph even though I might sell a floral tea towel as a Christmas gift, I wouldn't want to put in like holiday props with that. It would make sense.
Yeah. I mean, at least not for the listing photo, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly.
Just went full Tennessee there for a minute. Sorry. Yes. Yeah. So thinking about how your props can elevate the product instead of like taking away from them. So you wanted to like make it more of a feeling and not so much of a which thing is the product. Like you don't want people trying to figure out what thing the product is.
Yes.
So it's more just like an example of how you can use the product. Like that's what you're trying to convey, not so much like I'm going to make it look Christmassy by just throwing in a bunch of random stuff. Because sometimes I feel like we get stuck. Like I have to have Christmas products for Christmas or Christmas props, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the case. Like I have done very clean stuff for a long time and it's worked just fine. But also having those like really nice styled photos is great. But
yes,
but don't feel like you have to get hung up on props, because I always felt like I had to get hung up on props. So,
and I mean, Photoshop and so many other things are literally your best friend, because if you can't do a DIY photo, you can do a mock-up, which we just taught about. But we're staying on the photography train here. So. Yes. Another thing I want to talk about too is Cami can get away with just snapping one photo real quick. Sometimes you want to take a couple, so you could choose like in case one's blurry or something happens with the lighting, like the sun goes behind the clouds, whatever. You want to have a couple. And then if you want to add some depth to your flat lay layouts or to your product photo layouts, especially for wedding invitations, it doesn't hurt to get either little styling blocks from someone, or you can make them on your own. Or in my case, I would literally use my nib containers, my little like plastic nib containers from Amazon. And I would like put those down and then put the invitation card on top of it, because that adds a nice little quarter of an inch. Yeah, that then produces some shadow and dimension. The last thing you want to do, especially with an invitation suite, is to have it look so flat.
Yeah.
It doesn't add visual interest at all.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even with like my party pennant photo, I use a kneaded eraser underneath mine, because I can like kind of like shape that. It's sticky, especially stuff I don't want to move.
Yep.
So I would use my kneaded eraser to like if I was doing like punchies, like I would just like rip off little pieces and kind of like stick them. And they have a little dimension to them. So yeah, like having that little depth is definitely important with your product photography.
Yep, exactly. $2 solutions. Just keep that in mind.
We're at like $6 solutions.
Right now. Literally at $6 between everything. That is why this is so DIY. And I do think that there is pressure for professional. Hold on, what am I saying here? There's pressure for professional photographers. That is the tongue twister of the century.
Yes.
To probably to be armed with like the best for like styling mats and styling blocks, and because they want to, be put together and have all of, have that presentation side of it, I guess, like when they're working in front of clients or a planner or whoever it may be. We're just holed up in the corner of our office or our home somewhere. So there's no need to like spend money to impress. You just gotta do it quick and make sure that the photo is bright, so that you can easily see what it is that you're advertising.
And bright. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Another tip too would be possibly while you're taking the photo, is using some sort of like tripod thing for your phone, which can be helpful if you're trying to replicate like the same angle for some stuff. Like if I'm just doing something quick, I'm not going to use that. But if I was like actually trying to like style some kind of like flat lay thing and then put a party pin in each one, but I want the angle to be like kind of the same, having like a phone holder is helpful. So you're not like having to like reinvent the wheel every single time. But again, I don't do that like all the time, and that's not something you necessarily have to have, but it can make your life easier. Or if you want like your hands in it, I've done that before, so I can use my hands to like hold like a tea towel or something, or just like moving the product to have like a little, you can be your own hand model, just set it on a timer, that kind of thing. So that is like definitely helpful to have in your DIY toolkit for sure.
Yep. And that's normally called a gooseneck phone holder, the ones that Cami and I are referring, instead of tripod. I know some tripods might work for that, but ours are like little gooseneck ones.
The gooseneck
from
phone holder.
Amazon. Making a gooseneck with my hand. Something else that I wanted to touch on too is a pro tip that if you are doing a lot of the same product over and over, like greeting cards, or maybe you have like a ton of notepads that are the same size, you can shoot a blank and then edit in the other stuff later once you have your like base photo. And I know that Cami did this for Christmas cards one year, right?
Yeah, I've done that like every year for Christmas cards. Everything I shoot is blank pretty much. Tea towels, sometimes the cups. I did a couple of things where I've just like photoshopped in the artwork. So just makes it more versatile as well, because you can kind of reuse that photo over and over again.
Yeah. So don't be afraid to make your own stock photos essentially for products that you have a lot of, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to make your life easier.
A lot of variations of, I should say. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's like, oh, well, I used this artwork, but yeah, it's going to go a lot further. Like make your work go further by making your own stock photos.
Yes. Like doing like the idea for doing mugs, right? If you like set something on a timer and you're holding a mug, make it a blank, and then like all of your 5 or 6 mug designs can be edited onto that blank later on. You'll save yourself like a lot of work.
Yes, exactly. I was also going to talk about like shooting different product angles, which is also helpful for things like Etsy, for people to see what's going on. And, but I feel like I've gotten a little lazy with my stuff, but I definitely think there is a definitely good merit to like taking those different angles. Like I love like coming up from the like a flat lay angle and then coming in kind of like at an angle and then like really close up to show those details, like those types of things where you can like show more detail, showing a picture of the packaging, that kind of thing is also like really helpful when you're DIYing your product photography, just kind of like giving a nice little round view of everything. Cause like think your customers can't necessarily like hold it or like in person. So you're going to have to kind of like tell that story with your photos.
Yep, exactly. And let's talk too, because we obviously talked a little bit about what post-production looks like with the photo you sent me of the before and after.
Now that's where the real magic happens, guys.
The real magic happens in post-production, and there are so many different apps and things that you can use to do that. I really like using, honestly, sometimes I just edit within photos on my phone.
Oh yeah, I can't like figure out a good way to do that, but there are good editing things like directly in the like the camera app or whatever. Or not the camera app, I guess it's the photo album
Photos
app.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely some like good things you can do there for sure.
But then Lightroom on the iPhone, or like the Lightroom app too, I've definitely done things in there before.
Yeah, Lightroom is like my go-to. Like I freaking love Lightroom. That's like where I edit all my stuff.
And do you do Lightroom on your iPhone or on desktop usually?
No, on my iPhone. I do Lightroom on my iPhone, and then I drop it to myself and then do some Photoshop stuff.
Okay.
So it kind of goes through like 2 rounds of production, but the bulk of it is done in like Lightroom on my phone, which once I edit one photo, then I could just copy those settings and to the next photo, because I have presets set up, but sometimes I just like tweak them a little bit, and then I can just, based on if like the day is super sunny or cloudy or whatever, and then I can just like copy and paste it to the next photo, and then I just airdrop those all to my Mac and do a little extra magic with Photoshop with what is the tool that I use called, that my favorite one, to just like really make it nice and bright. Ooh, like the dodge and burn tool is like one of my most favorite things to use to brighten it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does it do specifically, I guess? I don't think I've really used that very much.
Dodge will like take away like shadows. So like in the white, you can be like, oh, I want to edit like the highlights, midtones, or shadows. And you can just like, it just makes the white really, really white. So I'll use like the curves, like the little eyedropper, the white eyedropper, tap that on the curves for the white, and then it just like instantly changes like perfectly. Like it's like perfect. And then I'll just use Dodge to like make any shadows that are really harsh. I'll just like lighten those up a little bit so they're softer. Or if I'm like want to make some details on the photo pop, I'll use the burn tool to feel like if something got a little diffused, to make it a little bit darker, or like if one of the ribbons like isn't the right color, I'll just use that and it kind of deepens it. So it's just like really like little tiny tweaks.
Okay.
So
yeah.
But in Lightroom, I'm using the exposure is obviously huge. Like that's why I said I just turn off all the lights, and even if it's like the darkest photo ever, I can make it look like it's in the daytime. So like exposure, shadows, blacks and whites, and then just like tweaking the color a tiny bit. I feel like I'm always upping the vibrance of things because your phone just never really captures it the way you want.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's where the magic happens for real.
That is, yes, definitely where the magic happens, which is why you need to be able to have some of those techie post-production skills. Because when I look at the scale of like professional photo shoots and what goes into it to get kind of like the perfect shot from the beginning that doesn't require a lot of touch up, like that is no joke. So
yeah, you're gonna need like a lot more equipment to get that without any kind of touch ups. And even then, they're doing touch up stuff. So
like wedding photographers, branding photographers, whoever it is, like what they're taking and shooting in RAW is always getting some sort of edit somehow. So
yeah. I think like the basic edits you would need to like pay attention to in whatever app you're using, whether it's Lightroom or Photo Plus or VSCO or whatever now is Snapseed, whatever you're using, the Photos app, pretty much just exposure and brightness, because you want that, bright color or that nice light and airy thing, unless your vibe is like really dark and moody. Mm-hmm. Contrast, sharpness, highlights and shadows, white balance, and like vibrance and saturation. I think those are the things I use the most.
Yep. I would say like that's pretty much exactly what I use when I'm playing around with things too, like on my phone apps.
Yes.
So
and then save it as a preset, because then you don't have to like keep redoing it over and over again. It's really easy to do that on Lightroom, which is very nice. Like I've talked about this before, but I have presets set for every single product. Of course, all the presets were like for exactly where I would take the photos in my other office.
Yeah.
So, but now I can still kind of use the same presets and just like a couple of small adjustments. I haven't really figured out my photography setup in the new shop. That's why I only have one photo. Because I don't have time for this. I don't know what I'm doing.
I feel like probably where you are right now, I mean, the window behind you is really nice.
Oh, yeah, that is it doesn't look as nice in person. But
oh, okay.
Actually like the brick and mortar space, I feel like has the best.
Oh yeah.
So that'll be good when I have that room redone, because then I can feel like I can take like more backgroundy photos.
Did the floors go in yet?
They go in this weekend.
Okay.
Yes,
I can remember the timeline on that. By the time this episode comes out, the floors will be in.
The floors will be in. So that'll be very good to kind of like, have like a nice styled room, because everything else is just full of boxes.
Yeah.
Well, it's also full of boxes, but yeah, it'd be nice to have like somewhere cute,
Right.
For taking more like full-fledged photos, I guess. So
such is life when things are crazy, and
such is life. Yes,
you have a new studio and everything, and so many employees. So you're just a busy bee. It's so fun,
freaking busy bee. But yeah, so with your product photos, the goal here is to make them crisp and clean and beautiful and bright. Like that's like the main goal here. Like you don't want to do anything weird with filters or trying to add, I don't know, funky like lighting and funky colors. Is just not going to work for product photography. It's just like as clean and clear and crisp as possible, like true to life as possible. Which is why I love the nice clean white background. You just cannot go wrong with it. And to be quite honest, Fair and a lot of other places will require you to have those types of photos. So it's definitely something you want to have in your repertoire, even if you love like very busy party photos. Like I love busy flat lays and stuff. I cannot pull them off, but I love stealing them from my blogger friends who do it, but because I love the way they look. But I had even Fair was like sent me an email about like my photo, like there's like your like main photo on Fair that's like how people view your shop or whatever. And so we had like a styled one with a bunch of stuff, and they were like, actually, we think you do better when you have like just one product on a white background. And I was like, Jacqueline, change the photo immediately. So they said that retailers prefer that. So I'm like, okay, well, let's just keep it's basically like your profile photo, kind of like, let's keep that shop photo like nice and clean and not do one of the styled ones, which is like backwards of what I thought it would be. So
yeah, exactly. I'm looking at your thing right now. Oh yeah, the Spooky Cute collection is your banner right now. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Plus 565 more products. Oh my gosh.
They're not even all on there. I know.
Oh my goodness. That is wild. I don't like that I have to like sign up to shop. It really annoys me that I can't just look at stuff on Faire. And then if I want to add something to my cart, then they could tell me to like sign up to shop.
Yeah, that's how they get you. I mean, it's easy to like make an account. So
I know. I probably will do it because I have so many friend stuff that I want to like see how it's set up and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, you might as well do. I have a buyer and a maker account, so I can like I have to like log out to see. But yeah, because I bought stuff I did buy stuff for a bundle box one time for the Father's Day because I was like, I need something else. And I bought this soap, and then I sold like 3 of them. So I was like, okay, everybody's getting this soap for Christmas. And now, so then I sold it to my parents, the soap, to sell in the gallery.
Oh my
God. Now Alex gets to borrow that soap every year at Christmas, and it's just like a running joke at this point.
Oh my gosh.
I know, but I could buy like stuff for the shop here, which I don't know.
I know you really could. Oh man. It's telling me, that I like have to have a shop if I want to shop. So yeah, I guess I do have a shop.
You do have a shop. Like I said, like I was like, I sell Camwood.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Just put your business.
Okay. That's a good point.
Yeah, they're not gonna discourage you as a buyer.
I think that's all we have to say on DIY product photography.
I know. I'm trying to think if there's any other like random helpful tips. I was gonna say too, like, well, these are just like little random tidbits, but like, don't use your zoom feature. Like, don't zoom in because you'll lose like the quality, the natural light we talked about. It's super important. Yeah, and then post-production. That's like your biggest thing is like download some sort of app and get super comfortable with it, because that is truly where the magic happens. I promise you, no one is taking photos that look good right out of the gate, especially when you're going to see my before and after.
Yes, I know. I can't wait to upload those. It's so funny.
That's just freaking classic right there. I feel like I have some even uglier ones that I could post, but that one's pretty ugly. So.
Yeah, that one's pretty funny. I know I could probably go back and find some of mine too, just to give people an idea. That'd be kind of fun to have people like submit their befores and afters. So maybe I'll make a note of that in the episode. Okay, guys, that wraps up our episode for today on DIY photography. And man, I am so not in the mood to do housekeeping. Just leave us a rating and review, y'all.
And if you have questions, you can go to bizbirthdaybash.com/Q and cake and ask your question there so we can answer it on our Q and cake episodes. And yeah, leave a review, screenshot this and tell us if you're listening. Share your best DIY photography tip on Instagram with us. We love that. And definitely go check out the post, because we're going to make sure it gets posted of my ugly photos.
Yep.
So you can be like, wow, that was janky AF. Oh, look at all that hair and dust in the photo.
Yes. The best part, which has been now deleted. So
yes, it's all gone now.
It is all gone now. All right, you guys, we will talk to you next time.
Bye.
Hey guys, we just wanted to hop in and talk about one of our amazing resources, the A to Z directory. All of us have thought at some point, how did she do that, or how did she make that? And maybe you don't know where to start or how the heck to produce this amazing product you've dreamt up.
Well, the A to Z directory is the missing puzzle piece in your biz, you guys, seriously. So it's built in the form of a yearly membership, and it's your one-stop shop for finding suppliers and vendors for all the things. Literally where to print everything from custom invitations, greeting cards, mugs, koozies, acrylic printing, letterpress, custom ribbon. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. and it literally goes from A to Z. From acrylic printers to zipper pouches, we have it in the A to Z directory.
We want to help all of you search less and create more with this list of 300 plus vendors and suppliers. Don't worry, they're very organized. It's not going to be overwhelming and confusing when you join. And this membership also includes access to a private Facebook community. It's incredibly active and involved. And if you need a question answered fast, that is definitely the place to go.
Yeah, our Facebook group really is the best. You guys, everyone is so helpful in there. And we're in there too, answering questions you guys might have. So it's a great way to get access to us and ask us things without sliding into our DMs. So we're more likely to answer you in the Facebook group, just saying. Anyway, also in the Facebook group, this is new for 2020 and we're really excited about it. We are hosting monthly Power Hour Q&A sessions that are live, and these are only available to our A to Z directory members. So you can hop in with us live and ask us all your burning questions in real time and just hang out with us every month. And we do these at different times so you can actually be there live, and the replays are always available in the Facebook group for members.
This resource is priced at $147 a year, which honestly is extremely affordable and is full of so many benefits, such as exclusive vendor coupons for members only. And we would love to have you guys join. Seriously, it's kind of like our family and our tribe. So visit bizbirthdaybash.com/directory to sign up today and use coupon code podcast2020 to receive $20 off your first year. That's podcast, all caps, 2020 for $20 off your first year.
We can't wait to see you in the Facebook group.